Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Legally Couture. This is your host, Erin, and I have a guest with me today. This is Caroline Stelte. You want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Erin, for having me. I'm so excited about this one.
Yes, I'm so excited to have Caroline here with us today. So for those of you that don't normally listen, we do a lot of law school driven topics and mental health topics because I'm in law school and love to talk about mental health. But I've learned about manifesting a bit, and we mention it on the podcast all the time. So we're doing a full manifesting episode today with Caroline because she is so passionate about it. So,
Yeah, I'm really excited. I was just telling Erin before this, I'm like, this is something I'm so passionate about. And I feel like when you have a passion behind something, it can be really overwhelming to talk about it and to kind of teach about it. So also disclaimer, I'm not an expert. I've just been doing it for a long time and I practice it every single day. So disclaimer to start.
yeah, we love a good disclaimer. Every time we talk about mental health, we're like, these are our experiences, but we're not a professional. Go
Exactly.
talk to someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
That's the episode disclaimer. But before we get into the manifesting, let's get to know Caroline a little bit as our guest.
Awesome.
So, Caroline, tell us, where are you from? Where do you live now?
All the things. Okay, so I am from Northwest Arkansas, but my parents and my background is California, Hawaii people. And so I just grew up in the South, which was kind of weird coming from parents that didn't have Southern beliefs. But anyways, that's a whole different story. So I grew up in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It is the number 3 place to live in the country. And so that's why my mom chose to raise us there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Northwest Arkansas is pretty cool. So grew up there, went to school, had a good childhood, all the things. And then when I entered about to enter college, I decided I didn't want to go. So I was like, I'm not going to do college. I started my photography business when I was 15 years old. I already had that. And I just wasn't really passionate about school. And it's not that I wasn't good in school. I just didn't really like it. I don't like being told what to do in general. So I was like, it's not for me. So, and I'm like, school will always be there also, but me being 18 years old won't. And so with that, I ran with it and I moved to Italy the next year and I lived in Milan for a year. It was awesome. So I told everyone I was taking a gap year because I do live in the South and people not were mean, but that is just so foreign to people. You go to school and you are in a sorority and XYZ, you do the things. And so that was really outside the box for my classmates. And so I was like, yeah, I'm just going to take a gap year. I'll go back to school, and knowing that I never would. So flash forward, I never went back to school. And I moved back home to Fayetteville, Arkansas when I was 19 and lived there for a little bit. And then COVID happened and, COVID happened. So then I moved to a town called Bentonville, Arkansas, which is about 40 minutes away. It's still Northwest Arkansas, but that's where I live currently. And it is the headquarters of Walmart. So if a lot of people don't when I say Arkansas, people are like, oh my gosh, why do you live in Arkansas? Especially coming from California and Hawaii and all of that. But it's the headquarters of Walmart. So it has a ton of money. It has the most billionaires per capita in our town. And the Walton family that own Walmart pour all the money back into the town. So we get to reap the benefits. It has the best museums almost in the world. The sister museum to the Louvre is in our town. And it's the mountain biking capital of the world. And a lot of cool things good in coffee, good in everything. So I decided to move here and I love it. I just absolutely am obsessed with town. I live downtown. So that's where I live currently. I have a serious boyfriend. We live together and we just got a dog and her name is Frankie and she's the love of my life. So that's where I reside. But what I do is, I think I mentioned it, I'm a photographer. I've been doing it since I was 15 and now I'm 22 and I mainly shoot focus in weddings and portraits, seniors and things like that. And I really enjoy doing that. And I have wonderful clients around the area. And I also host a podcast as well. I'm a co-host, and it's called Middle Ground Podcast. And you can find it on all the things, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything. Really enjoyed that. We started that in 2020. It's been really fun. And I also dabble in like influencing. So recently I have started to get really serious with my Instagram and TikTok, and to grow that following to make another stream of income that way. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yes. No, that was perfectly said. I feel like that really encompassed who you are as a person. Like
Thank
the
you.
basics of you. Obviously, you're more than that.
Right. Right.
I think I've definitely dropped your podcast name on here before too. When we're like giving recommendations, I'm like, if you're not listening to this one, you should go check out Middle Ground. We love it.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Yeah, we have a good time with it for sure.
Yeah. You guys are just like, I feel like a good vibes podcast. So it's always
That's
one
very
that I'll
nice. Yeah.
recommend to people when I'm like, if you just want like a nice light podcast,
Yeah.
it's just like just good vibes. And I don't know. I'm like, it's just
Yes. And people
anybody
always
can relate.
tell us, people always tell us that our voices are so soothing. So people like listen to it before they fall asleep. And I'm like, what? Like that to me, I'm like, my voice sounds like my voice, like it's normal to me, obviously. But I'm like, that's so interesting. And multiple people have said that. And I'm like, weird. Like, love that for us, I guess. But
Yeah, that is super interesting. I will say, I think your voices are both soothing, but I don't think I'd fall asleep to them. I think of your podcast more as like a start my day podcast, that it's like a nice ease into the day.
Right.
Your voices are like relaxing.
Yeah, we're not like screaming at people.
Yeah. My roommate listens to podcasts that scream at her and that are like, work hard, do this. And I'm like, I could not.
You're like too aggressive.
I'm like, that is too much for me.
Too aggressive. That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's crazy. I didn't realize that Northwest Arkansas had like all of those things. I didn't realize that like Walmart is from there and like specifically your town.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't realize it. And so like when I travel, because I've been to a lot of countries and things, and people always ask me where I'm from, and I would say Arkansas, and they're like, what? Like, because foreign people, like especially like Italians and things like that, who have never been to America,
they're
like that's like, we don't even know whether that is on a map. Like we didn't even know that was a thing. And then I explain, I'm like, well, it's actually really lush in money and all this stuff, and the Walton family pours back into the town. And they're like, wait, that's really cool. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is, but it's kind of a hidden gem. So like people who live here don't really spread the word because we kind of want to keep it hidden, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
It's just Arkansas, like, but it's not what you think. Like there's not like, I mean, there's fields and fields of stuff, like places in areas, but it's not like country. And people walking around here, because it's headquarters of Walmart, are from everywhere. So like you walk into places and there's accents everywhere, not just Southern or American in general. So it's really interesting.
That's so cool. That'll have to be a vacation spot that I hit at some point.
Yes, for sure. I always recommend it.
Yeah, I think I drove through Arkansas once on a road trip, but other than that, like I haven't really spent time there. So I'll check it out. It sounds like
fun. You have to check it out for sure.
Yes. But yeah, so that is a little bit about Caroline, everyone. So let's kind of get into the episode, I guess.
I'm so excited. Perfect.
Let's start by just kind of, what is manifesting? Like, how would you explain it to people?
Okay, so to me, manifesting is bringing something into your life through attraction or belief. So basically, it stems from the system of whatever you think about, you'll attract. And it's very much a positive thinking, and not just like, because it's hard because there's positive thinking and then there's like toxic positivity where you're kind of faking it, like I'm pretty, I'm amazing, like telling yourself all these things and you don't really believe it. So it becomes at the root of it a very positive but also real grasp on reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's how I like to describe it. So basically the idea, like if you think positively and you put good out into the world, you will get it back. And also with negative. So if you're a negative person, if you are, grumpy and you're just mean to people, you're going to get that back. That is kind of the belief system behind it. And yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like other people I feel like might have heard it be called like law of attraction. Like it's
Yes.
they're basic, are they exactly the same thing or just like similar?
Yeah. So manifestation, it has a ton of layers. So, and even when I talk about it to people, I have a hard time pinpointing what I want to talk about just because of the depth of it. But yes, law of attraction is essentially the same thing. It is attracts like. So whatever you're going to think about, even in your subconscious mind. So say you were saying out loud, like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to have the worst day ever. You probably are. Like, you're already setting yourself up for failure, and that is manifestation. It's as little as that, and it's as big as you want to take it. So, but it's also in your subconscious. So even if you didn't say out loud, I'm going to have the worst day ever, and you're thinking it subconsciously, it's going to show you, the universe or God, whoever you believe in, is going to show you that. So it gets really tricky. And I like to also mention it's not a magic wand. So I think a lot of people think of people that are really into manifesting of like, oh, they're kind of like witchy, like they really don't know what they're talking about, or they just come from privilege, which, yes, a lot of people in every case come from privilege of a certain extent. And that is to keep in mind. But also, there's people that we all know of, like the first one that comes into mind is Eminem, the rapper, came from nothing. There's multiple people like that grow and turn into something, and that is manifestation. I don't care what you call it, but to me, that is just completely, they understand how to manifest, and subconsciously or not. A lot of people do it subconsciously, especially people who are very negative. And I have a hard time with negative people in general because they are negative, but also because I want for so bad for them to realize like they're only doing it to themselves. Like life isn't being hard because it's trying to attack you. You're setting yourself up for failure. But obviously I can't tell that to random strangers I see that are negative. And of course, like even me, I have my bad days. I have my off days. It doesn't mean my life's perfect by any means. We're all human at the end of the day. But the way I like to see it and like to help me understand is like you being alive, like whoever's listening to this, you have, it's 1 in 4 trillion chance that you're even alive, like on this earth. And so when I hear that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was put here for a reason. Like, and if you believe that or not, like, to me, I just find that hard to not believe in, because I'm like, why are we here? Like, what's the purpose? Like, everyone, like, what is their purpose? But a lot of people walking around on this earth, they don't believe in that. And they don't believe, in themselves is what it comes down to. And if you don't believe in yourself, then you can't manifest the life of your dreams. Like that is impossible to do. So yeah. But yeah, long story short, law of attraction is the same. And that's what I was taught as a child. So I guess we can get into that, like how I learned about this and all things. So my mom, so I have 2 older brothers, and then they're like 11 and 8 years older. And then my mom had me at 34. So like she was kind of an old mom. That's not really old anymore, but she always said that, like, I'm kind of an old mom, but she's not, like, we're literally best friends now. Anyways, but when she was around like 40, 45, and I was like 5, 10 years old, she went through this big like spiritual awakening, and she got diagnosed with cancer. She lived, and she was just like, what is my purpose on this earth? And while she was going through it, she was also raising me, because my brothers, were older and out. So it was just me and her for a lot of the time. And so she would teach me all the things she was teaching or learning about and stuff. So one of the first thing she taught me was The Power of the Secret, which is a book, and it's by Rhonda Brime, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to look at
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah. I've heard of that one.
anyway,
I haven't read it yet, but it's on my list. I've got a list of books.
yes, it's so good. So Rhonda Brime, so she read that
Mhm.
when I was little, and she taught me that. She was like, whatever you attract, whatever you think about, you attract. And she would just like give me little lessons throughout my childhood.
I love that.
And that became my like belief system. Like I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's like, that became my truth because that
Mhm.
was my normal. But then I would go
Yeah.
to school and like kids weren't talking about that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? Like I thought everyone knew about this because like
Yeah.
that's what I was learning at home. So it's interesting, but also at the same time, like, and I guess we can dive into this like religion
Yeah.
versus manifestation
Yeah. And how they
is
can kind of like coincide a bit, maybe.
yes, but a lot of people don't believe in that. They think religion is religion and
Okay.
manifestation is manifestation, but I don't
Right.
believe in that.
Yeah.
Basically, when I was young, my dad was Catholic and my mom was Methodist. So they put me in Methodist Sunday school and all this
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
Is
I grew
Methodist
up,
Christian as
yeah,
well?
it's Christian,
Okay,
sorry.
so both Christian based.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like a branch.
Different branch. Yeah, gotcha.
Yes. And so I grew up going to Sunday school, doing those
Mhm.
things. But like when I would come home from Sunday school, and we wouldn't go like every Sunday, like we
Mhm.
weren't really like that family, but we would try to
Yeah.
go a lot.
Mhm.
And especially when I was younger. But
Yeah.
when I would come home from Sunday school and all this stuff, my mom would always make an effort to tell me, hey, like, just because you're being taught this
Mhm.
doesn't mean like that has to be your truth or that you have to stay like in these lines of this is what you should believe in. Like, I am just sending you here because to show you and grow your mind, but
Yeah.
always keep in mind, like, you don't have like there's no pressure on you to be
Yeah.
Methodist, there's no pressure on you to be a
Mhm.
Christian or anything. And
Yeah.
at the time, because I was young, I was like,
You're like,
okay, like cool.
okay.
But now that I'm older, I am like, oh my gosh, like that
That
is
was
so like
amazing.
amazing. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't believe she did that. And like I
Yeah.
had the option, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
Because now that I'm older, I see religion.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't say I'm a super religious person, but I
Mhm.
also wouldn't say I'm not. Like I wouldn't say, you know, anything bad about any religion. Like I think
Yeah.
religion's a beautiful thing,
Mhm.
but I do not go to church every Sunday. I just
Yeah.
don't do that. I don't follow that. But
Mhm.
I would say I'm a really spiritual person, like
Okay.
very spiritual.
Okay.
And I say that because I view religion
Mhm.
as my analogy I like to use on it is
Mhm.
religion is a fish in a fishbowl.
Okay.
So religion was made to control the people.
Mhm.
That's how I see it. It was
Yeah.
made to teach you morals, teach you,
Mhm.
you know, how to be a better person. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. But when you tap into spirituality, I see it
Mhm.
as a fish in an ocean. It's very
I
big,
love
it's
that.
very broad,
Yeah.
and there's religions all in the ocean. There's
Mhm.
all different types of fish, and you become more accepting, I
Mhm.
feel like, when you are more spiritual rather than religious.
Yeah.
And that's a very bold statement, but again, I just want to say religion's a beautiful thing. I
Yeah.
don't ever want to be like, no, don't be religious, like
Yeah.
any of them. But that's just how I see it
Yeah.
from being raised how I was
Yeah.
and going through both. So,
Yeah. I've never heard
yeah,
someone describe it like that, but, like, that makes a lot of sense, and I love that analogy because I would say myself also, like, I was raised Catholic, but,
right,
more so, like, my parents, like, wanted us to be Catholic, but when I got older, like, I myself didn't feel like I had to, like, do everything, like, by the book of what it said because, like you said, it's, like it is, like, a social construct, so it was, like, put in
yes,
place to give people morals and stuff, and that's great. Like, we kind of do need a source of learning
right, and give
morals.
you fellowship and all
Yeah,
of those good things too.
yeah,
Yeah,
you learn how to just, like, be a good person and, like, treat people well and stuff. So that's more so what I take from religion and, like, I don't there's definitely something out there, but it's a matter of, like,
right,
how am I to know that I'm the right one? So
exactly,
I view it more as, like, take what you know from it and, like, treat everybody well, and if there is like, if God is a real thing, like, which that's lots of religions have God, but then there's other things too. If
Right.
whatever you believe is a good thing and you're just like that good person that whatever religion you're a part of intends for you to be, then you
Mhm.
will like get to that place that you're trying to go, whether that's heaven or like there's
Yes.
different words depending on the
Or
religion, but
being
like
reincarnated
yeah,
if you believe in that.
yeah,
And
like Buddhism, but it's just like if you take kind of the core of what it's about and you are that good person, you're not going to get like penalized for not like going to church every Sunday because the piece of
exactly.
it is that like this being or the world wants you to be good to other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And even like Jesus
Mhm.
wasn't religious. Like Jesus was
Yeah.
spiritual because
Yeah.
religion didn't come, it came
Yeah.
after he was crucified. So it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a hard time talking to people that are really religious.
Mhm.
Um and not in a bad way. I love
Yeah.
talking to them and like hearing from their perspective for
Mhm.
sure. But it's hard to explain it because it's so deep rooted in them and they're like,
Yeah.
no, God is everything. And I'm like, I'm not saying
Yeah.
he's not. And I think with manifestation, like I guess I can turn the corner into this.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
per page,
Yeah.
not corner.
Connect.
Yeah, is I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Happens all the time on here.
What was I saying? I was
You're
saying,
saying you have a hard time talking to people that are like God is everything,
oh yes.
but with
So
manifestation.
yeah. So with manifestation, you are talking or praying because prayer and manifestation it's pretty much the same thing,
Yeah.
but prayer is interesting because it's more based of a lack of mindset. And what I mean by that is when you, and I'm not saying everyone does this, but
Yeah.
usually when people pray to God or pray to a
Mhm.
higher power, they are surrendering. They are, in
Yeah.
the rock bottom scenario.
Mhm.
They're like, God, please help me out. Please give me
Yeah.
money. But that is coming from a lack of mindset. So, like, when you're
Okay.
already saying out loud, or even if it's in your thoughts,
Mhm.
praying, that of like, I
Like
don't
I
have
don't
money,
have this.
God, please give me. Um, it's not going to come. Like,
Mhm.
if I'm going to be quite frank,
Yeah.
because you're already setting yourself up again for failure because you're
Yeah.
saying you already don't have it.
Mhm.
And with manifestation, you have to literally already believe that you
Mhm.
are powerful and that you
Mhm.
are deserving of everything that comes your way.
Mhm.
And with like religion or with like if you think because like with me, the only time I pray to God is to be grateful. And
Mhm.
I'm like, thank you, God, for my family, for
Yeah.
our health, XYZ, to
Mhm.
have gratitude. And when
Okay.
you put gratitude out of the world, which is a big, big tip for manifestation, you're not going to get anything if you're not grateful, like at
Yeah.
all. So if you put out, I'm grateful for you,
Mhm.
even if like you are in a low, low valley,
Mhm.
there's something you can be grateful for. Like even you guys listening to this podcast, you have
Yeah.
internet, probably, you have a
Yeah.
phone, you have a car if you're listening to the car. Like
Yeah. You have
just
AirPods if you're listening on your
yes,
walk.
like that is such something to be grateful for, even if it's I woke up today, like thank
Yeah.
you, universe, thank you,
Mhm.
God, thank you, higher self.
Yeah.
Um, and the more you train your mind to have gratitude, to me, that's the key of life. Like if you
Mhm.
wake up and you're actually appreciative of waking up,
Mhm.
like the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
And even like when you go on a walk and you can feel the ground beneath your feet and you can hear the birds chirping and
Mhm.
truly be in the present moment, that is
Mhm.
another level up of manifestation. So, like
Mhm.
being in the present moment, because now is all we have. We don't
Yeah.
have, like, the future doesn't exist. We could all die tomorrow. You could die at 92. We don't know. Like,
Mhm.
the future's not set in stone, and neither is the past. The
Mhm.
past, it's gone. You don't need to dwell on it. Like,
Mhm.
and certain things, yes, like, you need to like relive the past to not repeat in the future. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you
But
don't
don't
need
get
to
like
do that.
stuck in the past. Don't be like this
No,
thing happened and it's the worst.
yes,
Like
do
it
not get stuck
happened,
in it.
move forward.
Yeah, move forward and realize that now is all you have. Like if you're listening to
Mhm.
this podcast, to like, you're listening to a podcast. That's, you're here, you're present. You need to actively train your mind to be present. Because most humans walk around unconscious. They just do. They are thinking about the future. They're thinking about what to make for dinner, and they're not even living. Really, they're not like aware. Like you and I have my flaws. Like I'm not perfect at this, but like sometimes even when I drive, like I'll get in a car and say I'm like going to a place I always go to. I'm going to a place I always.
I'm gonna let her out of my room. My roommate got home.
Okay.
She wants to.
Okay.
Hi. I think it's Grace. Go ahead. Hi. She had to make sure it was my roommate and not an intruder.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah. Go ahead, continue.
So say I'm driving to a place, like I always drive to the grocery store. Okay. That is a set route I always go to. Sometimes, and I've gotten way better at it now, but you know, sometimes you drive and then you get there and you're like, I don't even remember how I got here. Like, I don't even remember, you know, like
that happens to me all the time. I think for me, it's a big ADHD thing. So like I have to focus a lot. I'm paying attention to what's happening. But yeah, it's concerning.
And with ADHD. So I was telling Erin before this, my boyfriend has ADHD. So I kind of understand his brain. Obviously, I don't live in his brain, so I don't get it.
But you've been with him a while now, so you can like learn kind of how it affects him.
Yes, his patterns and like what he thinks about. But with ADHD, I always encourage him. I'm like, you have to picture your mind, because his mind's overloading. My mind, however, I can literally shut it off in an instant and not think about anything.
That's like amazing.
Or I can think about whatever I want. So I just have that power in my mind. But I was telling Chris, I'm like, you need to imagine your thoughts, like, especially because he suffers from anxiety too.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah. So
it goes along with ADHD a lot.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, yes. But I encourage him to picture his mind as a dry erase board. So like his thoughts, like pretend there is literally someone in your mind. And it is, pretend it's not you. It's someone like drawing on the board, all your thoughts, like you're just racing your thoughts, like, you know, all this stuff. But pretend that same person comes with a big eraser and just erases it. And you're going to watch her or him erase the board. And you're going to do that until you are clear and you can focus on one thing or nothing. The goal is nothing, and just be in the present moment and hear the birds and feel the ground and feel your clothes that you're wearing and your skin. Or if you're, you know, have a coffee in your hand, feel the warmth of it. All of these. So that's the goal of every human being, is to get into that present moment. Yeah, for sure. But it's not easy. Like, I'm not saying it's like this easy thing, like everything, you know, like it's not hard. It's hard. It's
especially with, I feel like the modern world with like the technology and like kind of the American lifestyle is like to keep like doing things. It's like go, go, go. So we're always thinking about what we should be doing. So I feel like, especially like in this like year and how the world is right now, like it's tough to really just clear your mind.
Yes, very tough for sure. But yeah, it is tough. But I would say, where was I going to take this? I was having a good thought. But yeah, so with manifestation, because you might be like, okay, well, you just said to get in the present moment, but now you want me to think about, you know, what to manifest and think about the future. Yeah. So that's where it kind of gets tricky, because what I'm saying is the goal is to live in the present, yes. But the goal is to live in the present because that is going to make you more attractive for things you want into your future self. That makes sense. Yeah. So like how I see my life is like, yes, I'm Caroline, but I also see myself as all these different options. So like I literally can see myself homeless, and I can see myself, you know, average job, went to college, or down this path of kids and family, or billionaire. Like it's all these extremes, right? But it's my job as a human to pick that. And yes, it can ebb and flow as you go. Like I could walk down go to college, get a 9-to-5 door, and then pivot, be like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
you have the power to do that. And that's
Mhm.
also what's so special and crazy about being humans is you don't
Mhm.
have to be stuck. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
think they're stuck, but that's not a thing. Like you're making
Mhm.
your own self stuck. There's
Yeah.
so many options, pending financial and,
Oh, of course.
all those abilities, but
Mhm.
there's a way. I
Yeah.
promise you, whatever scenario you're in, there's a way to get unstuck.
Yeah.
So with that being said, when you manifest, um, and I can kind of dig into like what I have attracted into my life. So
Yeah.
one of them being is moving to Italy. Like
Mhm.
I moved to Italy. I was 18 years old. I didn't have a lot of money and I just went for it. And I attracted, friends. I knew one person before I
Mhm.
moved there
Okay.
and I knew he had a family. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, at least I know those people.
Mhm.
I barely spoke Italian, all the things. And I thought to myself over and over and over, I'm going to have the best year ever. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to, really step into who I am as a person, not
Mhm.
high school me or those beliefs.
Yeah.
I wanted to really branch out in my mindset. And I thought about that. And I thought about Caroline at the end of the year. And
Mhm.
I visualized her. I could, see what she was seeing and all things. And then at the end of the year, I was her. Like I became her.
I love
So
that.
like that's a thing, that's something I manifested. But
Mhm.
also, I mean, there's a lot. There's like a ton, and everyone has manifested something in
Yeah.
your life. Like I don't care who you are, like your car or your boyfriend, or like
Mhm.
I manifested Chris, my boyfriend.
I love that story. That I remember when you did the manifesting episode and Joe was like, "Yeah, Caroline manifested her current boyfriend." And I was like, "How do you do that?"
Yeah, for sure. And manifesting people is a little bit trickier. So like it's harder to like tell people, yeah, just like manifest your boyfriend. But
Mhm.
for me, like it was pretty simple. And I visualized like it was weird. Like if I say it out
Mhm.
loud, it kind of sounds crazy. But
It's
I met
okay.
my boyfriend when like in the summer, right?
Mhm.
And then I had no contact with him. I was like, I'm not ever gonna see this kid again. Like it
Mhm.
just is what it is. But then I was like, wait a second, I can see this kid again because he's gonna
Yeah.
be my boyfriend. Like I told
You're like,
myself
"He's gonna
that.
be."
I'm like,
Yeah.
he's gonna be my boyfriend. Like that is like I think he is, the one. And if he's
Mhm.
not, then it will pivot from there. But like he will
Yeah.
be my boyfriend in this lifetime. So like months went by and
Mhm.
I didn't get doubt. I didn't, think negatively. I was
Yeah.
like, whatever, whenever he wants to come to me, he's gonna come
Yeah.
to me.
Okay.
And then, months later, he found me on Instagram, DM'd me, and then like 2 months later, we went on our first date, and now
Yeah.
we've been dating for 2 years. So like things like that, it's pretty crazy. Like it's
That's the
like,
craziest one that I've heard.
yeah, it's like, how did you do that? But like to me, it's so easy because I've been
Mhm.
doing it so long.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, it's easy. Like I
It's
knew he was gonna be in my life. Like I
yeah.
knew it.
I knew
But
it. I put positive like thoughts out there and I
yes,
was like, "It will come when it's time."
like I didn't think a drop of negativity about it. I
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, he's not gonna like me. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not pretty. Never. I never said any of that
Okay.
out loud or in my head,
Mhm.
especially ever. I was like,
Mhm.
it's gonna just come into my life when it's time.
I love that.
And it happened. So, but with that being said, again, manifestation is not a magic wand,
Mhm.
and be careful what you wish for because when you
Okay.
get good at it, like when you get really
Mhm.
good at being in the present moment, having gratitude,
Mhm.
you'll start to manifest a lot of things,
Okay.
but it may not be what you need at that time. So,
Okay.
like, for instance, I really want to live in Hawaii in my lifetime
Mhm.
because my ancestors are from Hawaii. I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I really
That
want
would
to
be
do this.
so fun. Yeah.
But I never really like when I start to think about it, I like
Mhm.
stop myself. I'm like, wait, I don't want to live in Hawaii right now because I know
Yeah.
how powerful my mind is. I'll make it
Okay.
happen. There's no way I
Yeah.
won't. But
Yeah.
I'm like, no, right now I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
So you have to push it
no.
off. Be like, later, later,
Yes,
Erin.
later. And then I think about something else. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what like my dog, I have a Dalmatian and
Mhm.
she's my dream dog. Like I've
He's
always
so
wanted a
cute.
Dalmatian. Thank
Frankie's
you.
adorable.
Yeah, she's a good one. And I always wanted one forever.
Mhm.
And then, now I'm an adult and I'm like, wait, why don't I have one? Like, I'm
Yeah.
so confused. This is
Uh-huh.
my life. Like, I need to like get
Mhm.
what I want. So, the process of getting her, though, we had some bumps in the roads. We got
Mhm.
scammed. We lost all this
Oh,
money,
yeah.
yada, yada. And, when bad things happen, especially to like other people and people in general, you're like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, maybe that was a sign. Like I kind of took that, like maybe I'm not supposed to get a Dalmatian yet because Dalmatians
Mhm.
are, really a lot of high energy. You have to
Yeah.
walk them frequently. Like I had to get her trained, and
Yes, they take a
maybe
lot of
it's
training
not
as well.
time, like because I'm only 22. Like
Mhm.
maybe it's a sign, and then it wasn't.
Mhm.
Something happened, and this dog came to be, and now
Yeah.
she's literally like, I'm like this dog, and I also think like this dog, like I've known this soul before. Like it's
Yeah.
weird. Like I'm like
Mhm.
this dog has seen things, like she
Mhm.
gets it. For
Yeah.
some reason, I think that. But anyways,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So like the list is on and on and on. I can talk about
Mhm.
that forever. But the point of it is like, be careful what you wish for.
Mhm.
Because that's also like with boyfriends or significant others. Like Chris could have been this axe serial killer, and I'm just manifesting in my life. I didn't
Yeah.
really know him, but
Yeah.
I just sent vibes out into the universe. Like, if
Mhm.
he's one, I need you to send him to me. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm ready. Like, I think this is a good time, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but like he could have been this horrible, toxic person, and then I would
Yeah.
have to pivot and be like, well, learn my lesson, moving on.
Learn my
And yeah. So that's just life. Like,
Mhm.
and with like people that are really good at manifestation,
Mhm.
it's not that their life is like perfect and
Yeah.
like amazing from the outside, but inside, like my life's pretty great. Like, not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I'm really blessed, I'm really fortunate,
Mhm.
and I'm really grateful. And that's the bottom line. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful for how far I've come and where
Yeah.
I'm headed
Mhm.
and all of the things. So,
Yeah.
back to like, I'm very grateful because
Mhm.
I also believe in myself and I
Mhm.
like myself. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's really hard for people to get there.
Yeah.
From people I've talked to, it's like, well, I don't even like myself. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
you have like, that is your homework. Like, you have to
Yeah.
learn who you are, what you want, like your
Mhm.
values, and like
Yeah.
yourself.
You're
Because
stuck with yourself forever.
till death, like,
So,
and
yeah.
since you were born, like you
Mhm.
are with yourself forever. Like, you have to find out who you are. And if you don't like yourself, you need to pivot. Like,
Yeah, like, maybe
that's
you're
probably
not
the reason.
doing what you like, maybe you're not being who you really are if you don't like yourself, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Because
yeah.
there's a reasoning why you don't like yourself. You just need to
Yeah.
find
Mhm.
that. So yeah, I tell a lot of people that. And
I'll have to
yeah.
be careful then. I'm trying to manifest a specific boy right now, so I'll be cautious. I don't
Yeah.
think he's a serial killer though.
That's
I know
good.
him I know him decently well, so
Good, good.
we'll hope he's not an axe murderer.
Yeah. And even like, yeah, just for like boys or anything you're manifesting, you have to just like if one thought of negativity pops into
Mhm.
your head, you have to be like, go away, stop,
Okay.
and cut it off. Because if you are applying for a job
Mhm.
and the interview went really well and you're like, yeah, I think I'm gonna get that job,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, great, woohoo, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
But in your head, you're like, wait, I'm kind of having imposter syndrome right now.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get it. Like, and you just go down this train,
Mhm.
you probably will not get that job. Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to come into fruition. And so
Yeah.
you
I feel
have to
like
be
with
really careful.
Yeah, I feel like with jobs, especially if you're in that mindset before the interview of like, well, I don't know if I'm the
Yes.
best. Like, you have to go into the interview being like, this is my job. Like,
Yes,
I,
already. You have to
yeah,
literally, and that's one of my tips for manifestation is
yeah,
like, you have to use your five senses of
mhm,
whatever you're manifesting. So if it's a boy, like for instance, I would literally visualize Chris knocking on my door. I knew his name and I knew like a
yeah,
couple fun facts about him. I didn't know him at all, but I would visualize him knocking on my door
hmm,
and bringing me flowers and entering the
yeah,
room, my apartment, and I could
yeah,
see it all in my head.
Mhm.
of how it felt, and then
Yeah.
use the five senses as well, like how it felt, what my
Mhm.
apartment smells like
Yeah.
did we eat dinner, or what
Mhm.
that tasted like, and I
Yeah.
see it all. And
Yeah.
then the first time he came over, I was like, oh my God, I did it. Like this,
Yeah.
am I dreaming?
You're like,
Like
"He's
this is
here. Like, I
deja
made my dream
vu.
come true."
Yeah. And so, and it's with everything that you manifest, you have to do that. If that's a car, like if
Yeah.
people get really fixated on cars, like my dream car is Lamborghini.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great. But also you have to find the root of why that's your dream
Mhm.
car. Like, is it for other people? Like, is it
Yeah.
for to boast, or is it truly your dream car?
Mhm.
Like for me,
Yeah.
Dalmatian is my dream dog. It always has been.
Yeah.
Um, I don't care about people's perspectives on that.
Mhm.
But if it's a car per se, you have to literally visualize yourself already having it. Like it is yours.
Yes.
And you can feel yourself, you can feel
Mhm.
what the steering wheel feels like, you can feel the air blowing on you from the, air, I don't know, air machine, not
Yeah.
air machine, the car.
The air
Um,
conditioner.
yes, air conditioner.
The
And
air machine.
yeah, you guys know what I mean. And smell the new car scent. Like you
Mhm.
have to put yourself up. I already own the car, because
Mhm.
even if you think like, oh, I want that Lamborghini, that's a
Yeah.
lack of mindset. You already
Mhm.
have that Lamborghini. Like it's
Yeah.
already yours. You have to think of that.
Mhm.
And again, with manifestation too, like you have to put in the work. Like
Mhm.
Lamborghini is not just going to fall in your lap just because you're thinking about it over and
Yeah.
over. But it will be interesting to notice that when you do think about,
The dogs.
when you do, hold on, I think he's letting them out.
Okay.
Oh no, he ordered DoorDash, it sounds like.
Oh, that'll do it. Lorelai barks at everybody that comes to our door, and we're near the front door of our apartment, so she hears everyone that comes
Oh
in.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
such a pain.
Okay, I think we're good.
I think
Okay,
you're
so I
done.
was talking about, what was I talking about?
The dream car, you have to picture yourself in it. We want to
Yeah,
separate.
so you you have to work hard for what you want.
Mhm.
It won't just fall into your lap. Some things will, like it will be pretty easy. Like Chris, he DM'd me. I'm like, oh, that was
That's
kind of easy,
crazy.
but like for instance, like having a good job or working, or like you have to work hard. Like
Mhm.
it's not just this magic thing that,
Yeah.
happens. But
Mhm.
with that being said, so yeah, so back to, the dry erase board that I was talking about with erasing your
Oh, yeah.
mind, clearing your subconscious. The more you can focus on that, and what I
Mhm.
like to do, an analogy I use a lot is like treat your brain like a radio station. So like when you're in the car and you don't like the song, you're going to
Mhm.
change it or turn it
Yeah.
off. You're not going to listen to that song most likely. Like if you
Mhm.
actually load that song, you're not going to listen to it. Um, so your brain is the same way. Your brain is
Mhm.
literally so powerful
Yeah.
and so like amazing. You just have to program it literally,
Mhm.
and you have to actively program it until it's part of your thought process.
Mhm.
So like if you're thinking, like if you have a really bad day, for instance, it's horrible, things are going your way, and you're thinking negative thought after negative thought after negative thought. The goal is to think negatively, say, okay, let yourself think negatively, then
Mhm.
throw in a positive thought. Well, I did have a Starbucks coffee on my way to work. That was nice.
Mhm.
And the girl was really nice to me there. That's a positive. And then
Mhm.
say your brain's like, nope, another negative, because that will happen when you're really, really negative. It'll
Yeah.
go negative. No, but that actually sucked because I ran out of gas or whatever. You
Yeah.
keep doing that negative positive
Mhm.
until it's all positive,
Okay.
because I
Yeah.
don't care who you are, like your life isn't bad unless like
Mhm.
you are just going through it, you got
Yeah.
kidnapped, like
Oh my
me,
God.
it's like my life's bad if I die, but even if I
Mhm.
die, like that was meant to be. Like
Yeah.
there's no, like I don't really see myself having bad days. Yes, I have off moments, I'm not saying I
Mhm.
don't. I'll cry, or I'll have a death in the family, like that's
Yeah.
bad. That is like, I'm not saying that's like, oh, get over it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get up, think
Get over
positively.
it.
Like
Doesn't
that's,
matter.
yeah, that's toxic positivity doing
Mhm.
that. And of course, we're humans. We're meant to feel all these feelings.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, validate your feelings. But if you like are 30 minutes late and that ruins your whole day, you need to evaluate your life. Like,
Oh, yeah.
30 minutes late at the beginning of the day to work, and you're just like, oh, everything's going wrong. And
You've got a
then,
whole day ahead of you.
yes, but of course, everything's going to go wrong because you're thinking like that. Like, the
Mhm.
printer is going to be out of ink, and your boss is going to yell at you. And then
Yeah.
you have a million emails to answer. Like, yes, of course. Like,
Yeah.
I can see that your day
Mhm.
is going to be bad.
Yeah.
But like, throughout the day, switch that. You're
Yeah.
fine. You're alive. You're breathing.
Mhm.
Positive affirmation after positive.
Yeah, you could have like a
Or
really
just,
good lunch or something.
yes, or
Like,
like
good things
fun
yourself.
coffee with a friend at night
Mhm.
or happy hour or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that is really important to train your brain,
Mhm.
because it's really hard. Like it just is. But the more you practice, and it's
Mhm.
every day you have to put in work, just like
Yeah.
you go to the gym every day to exercise. It's the same thing with your
Mhm.
brain. You're not going to just wake up and be like, wow, I'm the queen of manifestation, I
Yeah.
got everything I want. It doesn't
Mhm.
work like that. You have to every single day do something to focus on
Mhm.
your brain.
Yeah, I
um,
agree with that. Because I feel like even like with myself, like I'm learning more to not let one little thing like ruin my day. I was 30 minutes late to class on my birthday last week. But I was like, it's okay. Like it's still gonna be a good day. And then my friend brought me cake to class, and one of my friends
yes,
was visiting the city, so we got to go to dinner. I ran into the boy I'm trying to manifest twice in places I don't normally see him. So I was like,
see?
I put the vibes out there. I said, I'll bump into him at
Yeah,
some point today.
yes,
And then I did twice. And I was like,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
well, that's what I was gonna say actually, is when you start to think about something you want to manifest. So say you want a Lamborghini, a green Lamborghini, you
Mhm.
will no joke start to see those
Yeah.
everywhere. And it's an effect, and it's called something, it's escaping my mind, but
Mhm.
it's interesting. Like that boy, don't you live in New York?
I live in New York and we go to school together, but like
Okay,
I don't
still,
normally take the subway, but I did that day and
and
there he
saw
was.
him in
Yeah.
New York City. Like that is
Yeah.
insane. So like
Mhm.
stuff like that will start happening.
Yeah.
And the more you're aware of like, oh wait,
Mhm.
like that's how powerful your brain is. Like it's
Yeah.
happening. You just have to
Mhm.
be aware. Like you'll see the
Yeah.
Lamborghinis everywhere. And like, for instance, I live in Arkansas. I'll start seeing cars. I'm like, there's no way I'm seeing that. Like that
Yeah.
is like probably fake, but it's not. Like it's
Mhm.
real because your brain is showing you
Mhm.
what you're thinking about. So
Yeah.
like when you see that happening, you have to realize how crazy it is when you are thinking negatively,
Mhm.
and like what you're like bringing into your life.
Mhm.
And that goes also into who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
Like, are you hanging out with people that are just gossiping and
Mhm.
negative? Like, that's going to have an effect on you. And not
Yeah.
saying they're bad people, like,
Yeah.
but if you really want to level up in life, you
Mhm.
have to be super hyper focused on who you're hanging out with, who you
Yeah.
let into your life fully,
Mhm.
and all that.
Yeah. Lorelai.
Lorelai.
Lorelai. Yeah, no, totally agree with that. That's so true. There have been people that I've just had to like distance myself from at times because of their negative mindset. And I'm like, that's just going to bring me down. And I don't
Yeah,
want to bring down my mindset. So I'll just like take a little break from them, be like, I just need my space because I can't let that affect me. But yeah,
right.
yeah,
Right. And like I'm an empath. So like if you tell
me
me
too.
a really horrible thing going on in
Hmm.
your life, I feel it. Like it's
Yeah.
literally like I am walking in your
Hmm.
shoes. And
Yeah.
so, and I only found out like I was an empath probably, do I mean to stop?
Yeah. Let me let her out. Lorelai.
Where's-
Lorelai. See
See
you later.
you later.
See you later. Okay, yeah, you're saying you just recently found out you were
Yeah.
an empath?
Yes, because so I just recently found out I was an empath because COVID happened
Mhm.
and I was just kind of like cracking out in the corner. I was just like
Yeah.
anxiety ridden, and
Mhm.
I've never suffered from severe anxiety in my
Yeah.
life. And I'm like, what's happening? But I also understood like everyone was kind of feeling like that because, like,
Yeah.
it's unprecedented times,
The unprecedented times.
literally. And so I was just like, what is going on? And so then
Yeah.
I found out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm an empath. Like,
Yeah.
because I would watch the news, especially at the beginning, like
Mhm.
all these family members are dying of these people and they were
Yeah.
interviewed. I'm like, oh, like I can literally feel that
Yeah. You, like,
and
take on their feelings.
all of it. And I was
Mhm.
just triggered so hard.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. And it went on for months, just me
Yeah.
having anxiety attack after anxiety
Mhm.
attack. And then, like, probably 2 months into it, I was like,
Mhm.
wait a second. I lived a whole life without anxiety before
Yeah.
this,
So
21
something
years of
changed.
it.
Yeah.
Like, I am not going to let this affect me in my whole life. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
living like this. I don't like
Mhm.
it. I know what it's like to feel not like this. And
Yeah.
that's what I prefer. So
Mhm.
I spent months, like, it was hard.
Yeah.
And people that knew me then, like my friends were like, you were going through it, man. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Like, I'm aware.
Yeah.
But I had to go through that to
Mhm.
grow and to
Yeah.
realize, like, wow, I'm an empath.
Yeah.
But like that is a power of mine and that's
Mhm.
a really good tool, but it also can be a disadvantage. So
Yeah.
I had to learn, like, I can care, but I don't need to carry that emotion.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
other people's emotions on me. Like, it's not my job. It's not my responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be Caroline and be there for
Mhm.
people, but I can't save the world. That's just, I wish I could, but I
Yeah.
can't. The only thing I can control is me and my mindset.
Yeah.
And so I just figured out, how to basically cure my anxiety. I never went on medicine.
Oh,
Nothing
lucky
gets
you.
medicine,
I had
but
to.
nothing gets medicine at all. Please seek a professional help if you
Yeah.
need. Not saying any of that, just my choice. I was just like, I really want to see if my mind can
Yeah.
get back. Like, I
Yeah.
wanted to prove to myself I could do it. And if not,
Mhm.
I was going to go the medicine route.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
especially because it wasn't something that you had, like, struggled with previously.
right. It
Whereas,
was just
like,
brand new. Yeah.
yeah, brand new because you'd never had, like, bad anxiety before. Whereas, like, I looking back could be like, oh, as a child, like, definitely I was super
Right.
anxious. So I was like, I've had periods of time like that. So I'm like, I know I'm predisposed to it. But for someone like you, where you're like, this has never been a problem.
Right. I was like, I need to get to the root of this. So I did,
Yeah.
and I did a lot of self-reflecting and a lot of things. And like,
Mhm.
back to this all ties in, like,
Yeah.
I found out I wasn't living in the moment. I was
Yeah.
so worried
Mhm.
about, COVID and
Yeah.
COVID affecting my family, when in
Mhm.
reality, everyone was fine in my family. Like,
Yeah.
everything was good. I'm good. I'm breathing. I woke up.
Yeah.
I have a job that allows me to work from home anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I had so much to be grateful about, but
Mhm.
instead of like stewing on those things, I was stewing on all the negative things because
Yeah.
I was on the news and that's what everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
And so I had to be like, wait a second, and really kind of distance myself to be like, get in the moment,
Mhm.
get in the moment. And I would do everything. I like hug trees because I researched all the stuff. It's like, go hug a tree
Go hug a
that
tree.
like gets you in the moment. And like,
Yeah.
trees have been there forever. So they have all
Yeah.
these powers. Go
Mhm.
hug a tree, go walk barefoot in the grass. Like, I would walk
Mhm.
barefoot everywhere to like
Yeah.
feel the
Yeah.
grass on my feet,
Mhm. Yeah, I
hear
spent
the
so much
birds.
time outside because, like, my family is privileged to have a yard living in the
Yeah.
suburbs, so I was able to spend time outside, and it helped so much.
Yes. And go on walks and,
Mhm.
do those things. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, but during that rough patch,
Yeah.
like March, April, May, June, even of 2020,
Yeah.
I wasn't manifesting anything because I had to take care of myself. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't be like, oh, I need that Lamborghini. No, I don't. Like, I need to take care
Yeah.
of myself. Like, that's
Yeah.
what I need to do. And
Mhm.
so, like, I encourage you guys, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I'm just going through this valley right now,
Mhm.
like, it's hard. I just feel like it's so hard to think positively. Like, just know that life comes in waves
Mhm.
and you will be on top. Like, you
Yeah.
will get over this hump.
Mhm.
Um, And if that is, praying, manifesting, whatever you need to do,
Mhm.
for a source of comfort, even,
Yeah.
that's what you need to do. And it will get better. And
Yeah.
then right now, I feel like I'm in a really high point in my life. Like,
Mhm.
I'm thriving, I'm doing these things,
Mhm.
not to say bad things won't come, but it's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to enjoy this time now. I'm not going to stew
Mhm.
about, oh, but if I make this decision, it's probably going to affect my whole life in the
Mhm.
future. No, I'm going to enjoy this now because I know when valleys do come, then
Mhm.
valleys do come, and then highs will
Yeah.
come, and
Yeah.
fluctuate. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I feel like a lot of people, like, during COVID was a low point for people like that, where they
Yes.
probably weren't in a position where they could be, like, manifesting things because they just did have to take care of themselves, like,
Yes.
including myself, like, prime COVID year was not good for me.
Right. Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of people.
A lot of people, it was not good, and like I mentioned, I myself, I'm pretty sure I'm an empath too because I, like, take on the emotions of other people so much. I didn't
Mhm.
used to notice it, but, like, if someone else is crying, like, I'm gonna start crying because I'm like, "Oh my
Literally.
god, you're so sad."
Yes.
And, like, the news was, like, so bad during COVID, and now with the Ukraine stuff, like, I can't look at the news, like, I
I
know what's
know.
going on, but, like,
Yes.
actually reading about it and, like, seeing the videos and stuff,
I
like,
know.
it kills me, and, like, I know I personally can't really do anything about it, so I'll, like,
Right.
support, like, causes that will do good things or support, like, government officials and stuff that want to help out, but, like, there's
Right.
nothing that I can personally do where looking at it every day is gonna
I
bring
know.
me
It's
good
gonna
from
help.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, to a certain extent, it comes from, like, and I'm the same way as you. Like, I
Mhm.
think exactly like that. Like, everything going on in the world right now, I'm like, horrible, like,
Yeah.
horrible. And then I kind of have a hard time because I'm thriving right now. Like,
Yeah.
I am just like going,
Me
but then I'm
too.
like,
I'm in
wait,
my era right now.
yeah, that's good. Yeah. But it's like, wait, like, actually, maybe I shouldn't be as, you know,
Yeah.
happy for myself because all
Mhm.
this stuff's going on. And like, it comes from a place of privilege, yes.
Mhm.
But like, the only thing separating you from a refugee is where you're born. So
Yeah.
it's like, and like, that's really harsh, but it's like,
Mhm.
that's the blatant
That's the
truth.
reality,
And
yeah.
it's like, I was privileged to be a white female born in
Mhm.
America.
Yeah.
Um, and do I have power above people because of that? Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
And do I want to advocate for people because of that?
Mhm.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, like, knowing your advantages and disadvantages to
Mhm.
help people, because
Yeah.
the more you help people and
Mhm.
put good out in the world, you're going to get it right back. Like, it's
Yeah.
not, and you need to genuinely want to help, like, not just
Yeah.
help to be like, oh, if I help that girl, I'm gonna get a Lamborghini. That's not
Yeah.
how it works.
It's like you wanna help. That's kind of what, like, drove me into the law field because I was like, I know I have
Yeah.
the privilege that, like, I have the ability to do these things and that I have, like, these other things in my life, and, like, I was born in America, so I have all of these opportunities.
Right. And we
So
speak English like
yeah, and I speak English,
crazy.
so I'm like, so I want to be someone that can help, like, those people that weren't born with that privilege. That's why I'm
Yeah, be a
especially in
voice.
yes, that's why I'm
Yeah.
especially interested in immigration law because I'm like, literally, we're the
Yeah.
same, they just weren't born here, so, like, what gives me more the right to, like, live my
Right.
life freely here than then that those people when we're, like, the same we're the same, we're all just people.
Truly the
So,
same.
yeah,
Yes.
so
I know. Yeah. But like, when you check your privilege and like
mhm,
really come to yourself and think like that,
yeah,
I think you're in a better place to help.
yeah,
And not be so like, well, those refugees didn't do anything for us.
yeah.
That's a bad
That's
mindset.
a bad mindset, like, they didn't choose the position they're in, like, if
Right.
they're a refugee, like, that means they are running from something, basically. They're like,
Yes.
"We need help." So,
Yeah.
just because they didn't do anything to help us, like, they're not in a position to help us because they don't
Right.
have the privilege that we do,
Yes.
so
And
they need
plus,
our
no
help.
one owes you anything. Like, and
No.
that's like a good lesson in life in general. Like, no one owes you anything. And not like to say all you have is yourself, but like,
Mhm.
kind of like,
Yeah.
you as a person are so in control. And a lot of people don't even realize it. Like, they go day by day, like I said, unconscious. But like,
Mhm.
if you believe in God or a higher power of
Mhm.
anything, or if you believe you are the higher power. Cause like
Yeah.
I sometimes think that like I'm a child of God and I'm part of the universe. Like all of us are energy. We're all
Yeah.
connected. We're all the
Mhm.
same. So
Yeah.
it's like if you tap into that, you'd be like, oh my gosh, like I'm so powerful,
Yeah.
do whatever I want and
Mhm.
help and inspire or,
Yeah.
live how you want to live. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I just feel like again, like 1 in 4 trillion chance of you
Mhm.
being born. Like,
There's got to be some reason you're
yes.
here.
And
Mhm.
like you don't have to be this famous Hollywood actress. That's not what
No.
I'm saying. Like your significance could be being a school teacher
Yeah.
in a very, not privileged
Yeah.
community and
Yeah.
sharing your voice and helping, and that
Yeah.
fills your cup so much and you don't
Yeah.
care about the money. That's awesome. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing, like success isn't met or shouldn't be measured by
Mhm.
money or wealth
Yeah.
or popularity. That's not what life's about
Yeah.
in
I
my eyes.
wanna I wanna add to that also the thing about like working in an underprivileged like community school. You could also spin that like if you're working in like a privileged community, you could be
Yes.
like teaching those students about their privilege and how they can use it. Because I
Yeah.
feel like that's a big thing, especially in like the law world. It's like, oh, you want to work in like big law. Do you know what big law is at all? It's
No.
okay. It's just like the big firms. You make like 200K a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like you can look at it and be like, oh, they're working in big law because like they have this privilege and they're not like really doing anything to help the
Yes.
people that need it. And then if there's like, oh, it's the public sector where you're like helping people like as a public defender, working for
Mhm.
like a big like immigration program or something. But you kind of have to look at like how you're helping people from either side. Because if you yourself like came from like an underprivileged background, I've heard a lot of people say that have come from backgrounds like that like they felt like they needed to like go into a field of law that helps their community. But
Right.
then they're like, but no, I really want to do big law. Like I worked hard to get here. And like
Yeah.
maybe some people will be like, oh, like she wanted to help her community, but now she's doing this. But by becoming someone that was like underprivileged, like working in big law, she's like helping even out the playing field
Right.
by so
And
like just showing like
encouraging,
the
like,
kindness.
yeah, she came
Mhm.
from somewhere and like
Yeah.
her community knows who she is. Like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, Jessica made it. Look,
Yeah.
like,
Like an
she,
inspiration to other people
yes,
coming from
like
like the same thing.
people see you, whether
Mhm.
you're actively like speaking on a stage to them or not.
Yeah.
They're gonna see you and you're gonna make an
Mhm.
impact.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's the goal of life is just making an impact, big or small,
Mhm.
and just putting good out into the world. And like
Yeah.
even a big thing about manifestation too, like a big topic is money and
Mhm.
like how I view money and people that are really into manifestation view money as just energy. Like
Yeah.
money is literally just so abundant and
Mhm.
like there is so much money to be made, to be
Mhm.
had. But a lot of people, because of the background they grew up in,
Mhm.
which is not their fault,
Yeah.
just to clarify, is maybe you grew up in a household where money was bad, like oh
Mhm.
my gosh, we can't afford that this month, and
Mhm.
I can't afford that, like everyone's gonna look at us like we're poor or whatever, like
Mhm.
maybe that was a dialogue going
Yeah.
on in your childhood, and then you grow up and you bring those values with you and
Mhm.
you're like, oh, money's so hard to make and I
Yeah.
never have enough. But the reasoning you never have enough is you're telling yourself that.
Mhm.
Like, as humans, like, we don't need a lot of money to survive.
Mhm.
Like, we don't.
Yeah.
If you can't afford your lifestyle, you need to like re-pivot how you live. That's
Yeah.
how
Or
I see it.
repivot like what you do like
Career
to make
choice.
money. Yeah.
Yes. Or like maybe you need side hustles, like,
Yeah.
that's an option.
Mhm.
So sitting there complaining about it, and I have a hard time too when people complain about money,
Mhm.
and say, I can't afford that this month or whatever.
Mhm.
And then I look at them and they have like a brand new iPhone in their hands and their
Mhm.
nails done and their hair is perfectly colored. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that doesn't add up. Like,
Yeah.
drop something.
You're like
Like, if
picking
that,
what you want to spend money on. So don't
yes.
complain if you can't afford something else. Like it was your choice. And that is
Yes.
your choice how you want to spend your money.
Yes.
But
If you want to have nails done every week,
yeah.
great. Like if that makes you
Mhm.
feel good, great. More power
Yeah.
to you. But like that's not the point. The point is like you saying you don't have enough money or,
Mhm.
and some months maybe, yes, they are hard.
Yeah.
But then the next month, guess what? You survived. You're
Yeah.
alive,
Mhm.
you're breathing. You have
Mhm.
to go back to gratitude
Yeah.
and then make that not repeat next month.
Yeah,
Like,
like
okay,
all your bills start over, reassess and see what you
yes,
need to do.
reassess, drop
Mhm.
something, get a
Mhm.
new job,
Yeah.
move out of your big apartment into something
Mhm.
smaller or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's always options. And I feel like
Mhm.
people get so stuck in like, oh, it's just hard. Like life's so hard.
Yeah. My
It's not.
sister's like that. And we're always trying to be
Yeah.
like shit, and you're like making it hard for
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
It's
you're listening, I'm not dissing you. You know it's how you are. We've told you.
yes.
You have to get in a
Right.
better mindset.
Yeah. Just radio station it, positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
yeah, along with money again, like even so how you attract money is
Mhm.
obviously thinking about it. And another good tip I have is you should write down everything you want to manifest.
Mhm.
So if it's that, like, I'm trying to think what I just manifested. Oh, for January of 2020, I wrote down, manifestation goals. And
Mhm.
one of them was I wanted to hit 100,000 followers on TikTok by
Did you just
March.
hit it?
I am close. Like I'll hit it this month, which is
Oh my
March.
God, that's crazy.
But I literally wrote that down, but I wrote it down in the present tense. And I wrote,
Okay.
I am grateful to have 100,000 followers to
Okay.
build a community. That's how I
Mhm.
write it. Not, I want 100,000
I
followers
like
because I
that.
want to be popular, whatever it is, period.
Yeah.
It's, you already have it. So I wrote that down.
Mhm.
I wrote down a lot of other things, but
Yeah.
that's a good tip I have for
Yeah.
people. And if it's money, like I will have the means to save up enough money for a down payment on a house or
Mhm.
whatever. Like you
Yeah.
have to write it. And writing it is really good, and putting it somewhere where you can always see it
Mhm.
is like even better. In your
Yeah.
car or writing it multiple places.
Yeah.
And actually Jim Carrey in one of his interviews, he said that he was, struggling, like, and he was
Mhm.
like 20, I think, probably.
Yeah.
He was struggling and like couldn't really make ends meet. And
Mhm.
he wrote a check to himself and it said Jim Carrey $1,000 and
Yeah.
then signed his name, or $10,000, sorry.
Okay.
And signed I think it was 10,000. It was either
Yeah.
$10,000 or 10 million. It was something like that.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I've heard this story. I don't remember the number either though.
yeah, and he put it in his wallet
Mhm.
and he looked at every day, like, and it was just crumpled by the end of it.
Mhm.
And then he literally got scouted for Dumb and Dumber, and they offered
Yeah.
him that exact amount of money. And that
That
is
is crazy.
manifestation. Like
Yeah.
you already feeling the check,
Mhm.
looking at the numbers, like already being like, yes, that is in my bank account, and
Mhm.
knowing that money fluctuates and money's energy and
Yeah.
money's abundant, it's gonna come to you. And
Yeah.
also, like whenever you're paying for something, and I
Mhm.
don't care what it is, like if you're handing over your credit card to someone for them to swipe, so it's like
Mhm.
Starbucks, say you're at Starbucks,
Mhm.
they say that will be $7 and you hand it to them.
Mhm.
When you hand it to them, literally think, I wish all the abundance and money towards this person working,
Yeah.
instead of being like, oh, I can't believe that was $7. Like
Yeah.
you chose to go there. Like it's
Mhm.
not a shock. You can say, hey,
That's
I don't
true.
really need that anymore. I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah,
Like you
you can
have the
continue.
power to do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So like you saying that, it doesn't even make sense. It's like
Mhm.
you literally signed like you're in line, like you
Yeah.
actually went to go buy this item.
Mhm.
So instead focus on like, wow, I'm so grateful I can
Mhm.
afford this, as well as
Yeah.
I wish all the abundance in the world for this human being you bringing in my
Yeah.
transaction.
Yeah.
um and just by doing that, even like you're not even saying it out loud, just like
Mhm.
by doing that, it gives you more like vibration into the universe
Mhm.
and levels you up.
Okay. I'm gonna start thinking that every time I buy something now.
Yes. I mean, I learned that like only a couple of years ago, and I do all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, I wish like the best for him. Like if that's
Yeah.
his favorite job he's doing is scooping
Mhm.
ice cream, amazing. But like,
Yeah.
I wish all the abundance and joy for this person working.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. I feel
yeah,
like money is a tough one for people too,
yes,
especially like as a student, like I don't have an income right now. So I'm like
right.
living on like student loans and my savings from last year. And I feel like that is a tough one for people to think like in abundance. But I've heard
Yes.
you talk about it before on middle ground. And
Mhm.
I've been working on my mindset with money. It's tough though. Like that one
It's
takes
tough.
a lot of
Money is
work.
tough. And like, I also do advise you to seek help out, like a therapist or
Yeah.
something, if you really are struggling with, like, because I'm saying this, I'm not saying
Mhm.
it's easy, but like
Yeah.
with money, it comes from deep rooted trauma of however you're raised with
Yeah.
money.
Whatever
So,
your
like,
money situation was, is what affected
whatever it
you.
was, however your parents talked about it, like
Mhm.
that is what is going to stick with you. But that's not
Yeah.
true. Like, that's not the truth. The truth
Yeah.
is whatever you make it. And now that
Mhm.
you're an adult, you can choose to live your life and think
Yeah.
however you want. So,
Yeah.
like, money is abundant. And, like,
Mhm.
yeah, some people listening to this are like, this bitch is crazy. Like, no, it's not. Like, I am so in the hole right now. I'm in
Yeah.
debt. It's
Mhm.
gonna be okay. Like, you
You
are
will
gonna
get out
figure
of
it
the
out.
hole with
Yes.
the money.
Because what matters is like you being alive and you making an
Mhm.
impact. Like,
Yeah.
yes, your student debt and your loans are always gonna be there. Like, you can't, I mean, yes, you can chip in dollars into it every
Mhm.
month, which hopefully you do. But like,
Mhm.
if you don't have the means to do it that month,
Yeah.
you're alive. You're okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay.
Yeah. No, literally. But that
But
one
yeah,
is a tough one. So definitely I would agree. If you really struggle with like a bad money mindset, like if you do have a therapist or you don't, maybe find one. Like talk to
right.
them about it because it probably is rooted in how you were raised, whether like you were raised in a family that was always tight on money, or even like maybe you weren't tight on money, but like your parent was like a spender and that like
Yes.
stressed you out as a kid. You're like, oh, I see them shopping all the time.
Yes.
So
Or you develop those spending habits as an
yeah.
adult. It's like
Mhm.
all the things, like,
Yeah.
we only know what we know from
Yeah.
where we came from.
Yeah.
And your parents only do the best they can with what they
Mhm.
had from how
Yeah.
they were
And what
raised.
they know, because like
Yes.
as adults now too, we can be like, oh yeah, adults don't know what they're doing.
No.
Like we're all just kind of figuring it out as we
Yeah.
go.
And it's just part of life. And it's kind
Mhm.
of the beautiful thing of life. It's like,
Yeah.
it's whatever you make it. Like, you can
Yeah.
be or do whatever you want,
Mhm. Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Because as a child, you don't really have that freedom. But once you're like an adult, whether you're like in college and you support yourself or like you moved right out, like you went to Milan, like
Yeah.
you just, it's your adult life now and you get to shape it how you want. It doesn't have to be the same as how you grew up if you didn't like that. Or if you did
Right.
like that, you can shape your life to be
Right.
that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like finding a partner, like you don't
Hmm.
have to find a partner that's exactly like your
Yeah.
father or your
Hmm.
mother. Like, you
Yeah.
can pick who you want.
You find what you need. Every person's
Yes.
different. They need a different partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I think I kind of touched on everything. Can you think of
Yeah.
anything else?
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, just like what would be, we'll say like your top three tips for beginners at
Okay.
manifesting? Just like a quick top three synopsis.
So I would say, you have to believe in yourself. You are so powerful, and you have to tell yourself that over and over and over. So really tap into that subconscious part of your mind until you believe that,
Mhm.
because that's just going to level yourself up for you to manifest better. Number two, I would say, get clear on what you want, and it has to be like so specific. Like, pretend you're turning in a paper to like the president. You're not going to say Lamborghini green, like detailed. I want it like,
Yeah.
when I turn 33,
Mhm.
I am so grateful to have that, or not even when I turn, I am 33
Yeah.
now, and I'm so grateful to own a Lamborghini and have three
Mhm.
kids, and
Yeah.
whatever your dream is,
Yeah.
write it down, put
Mhm.
it anywhere. And you can do this in multiple different ways,
Mhm.
like long-term goals, short-term goals,
Mhm.
but stick it all the places so you can just
Yeah.
be, it'll be on your mind.
Yeah. Would you
Um,
say present tense then for everything? not like future tense,
Yes.
not like I will have this, like
I will have this is fine.
okay,
Like if you don't want it right now.
okay,
Like for me, I will live in Hawaii. I
yes,
don't want to
okay,
live in Hawaii right now. So I
okay,
do write that. So
mhm,
just like know, get in touch to like what's important to you
mhm,
right now and then
yeah,
what's important to your future self. And that can change,
okay,
and that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, okay,
Um, so yeah, present tense is good, but
mhm. If
I
it's like
will.
a long-term goal, maybe then and I will.
Yes, like
Okay,
I will have three beautiful children that are
mhm,
healthy, you know, all the
yeah,
things. And then I would say three is take action. So you have to
mhm,
work for what you want. It doesn't just come to you, and have gratitude. That's the most important. Have gratitude, live in the present moment, be
mhm,
appreciative for everything you have. I don't care what it is, like taking showers in the morning,
mhm,
brushing your teeth, like having toothpaste, like stuff like that. People don't have that. Like,
yeah,
and the faster you realize that, the faster you'll be like, oh my gosh, like I'm so grateful. Like,
yeah,
how lucky am I, you know?
yeah,
So
I
I'd
feel like
say those are my top three.
yeah, I love that. I feel going off that last one, I just want to add like living in a place where there's so many homeless people. I feel like that can be something that really grounds you too. If
Yes.
you like really pay attention to like, I have these basic things that I like take for granted, but it's
Right.
not something that people take for granted, like toothpaste, a toothbrush, even a
Right.
house. Like it's not something that you would think like, oh, I have this, it's great, but like
Or like everyone has this. No, not
yeah,
everyone has
no.
that.
So
Yeah.
really like think about what you have and how you like can't really take anything for granted other than like
Exactly.
yourself existing. But even that, like you might not like Caroline said, there's
Right.
one in a something trillion chance that you could
400 trillion. That's
yeah,
insane.
yeah. Pretty
Insane.
crazy.
But yeah, and it also I recommend too, like if you have the means or
Mhm,
even if you don't budget this into your lifestyle, is travel. The If you see the world from other people's eyes,
mhm,
you will be in a better place of
yeah,
accepting others, of
mhm,
learning how they grow up.
mhm,
It's just travel is the best school in my
yeah,
eyes. Like, because
mhm,
my first trip out of the country, I went to Thailand where they have nothing, nothing.
okay,
But
mhm,
their whole slogan of their whole country
yeah.
is the land of smiles, because
Oh,
everyone's so grateful,
yeah,
everyone's so happy, and you're like walking around like you're happy, like
yeah,
you have nothing, but
mhm.
that's
But
what
they're
I
grateful for
think
what they do have.
what they do have,
Yeah,
and they're so appreciative even to like people like me that have things
mhm,
they'll never get.
yeah,
And it's like, wow. And so I think that was really like that trip in specific. My first
yeah,
time out of the country, I didn't know where I was
mhm,
even going, like Thailand,
yeah,
what's that? And then seeing that, I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to
yeah,
be appreciative for everything. Like there's no
yeah.
reason to not.
Yeah, so take, like, any opportunity you can to, like, get in other people's shoes, even if that's, like, going to, like, a different area of the country for, like, college, like, I went to San
Yes.
Diego, so I was
Right.
able to, like, see all of the immigration issues and stuff at the border there and work with kids in, like, a low income community and be
Yeah,
like,
that's
"Wow,"
awesome.
like, these things that I, like, took for granted in my, like, white suburban town in New
Yes.
Hampshire is not something that, like, everybody just has. Like, they don't all have, like, a mom that stays home with them and is always there to take care of them. Like, their parents might be working double shifts, working all night.
Right. And they
So
have siblings that they have to take care of too,
yeah,
like a child.
yeah,
Like
there'd be,
that's
like,
your
5th
responsibility.
graders responsible for, like, the 1st graders that were their siblings, and
Hmm.
that's crazy. So, like, take any opportunity you can to, like, meet different people, learn their stories, see different cultures, and just how like, it's not you can't take anything for granted. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the bottom line of that. So be grateful for everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, those are my top tips, I
Yeah.
think.
I love those. Those are great. And then just do you have any like you recommended the one book, The Secret? Is it just called The
Mm,
Secret?
yeah, I have it on my phone. It's
Okay.
called The Power, I think.
Okay.
But I've also heard it The Power of the Secret. It's
Okay.
by Rhonda Byrne. That's a really good
Okay.
one. That's also on Netflix, and it's like
Okay.
a little short documentary,
Okay.
and it's really good. It talks about like how even you can manifest health problems and how you can manifest them
Mm,
away. and like it
Ooh.
dives into a lot of different topics too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd recommend that. It's based on the same book.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also a movie called,
Okay.
I think it's called The Power of the Secret. And I think it's on Amazon Prime,
Okay.
but it's like a short, kind of really light movie.
Mm-hmm.
But basically it's all about like it doesn't say it word for word, like it's not as like structured, but as you
Yeah.
watch the characters, you see like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is about manifestation. So
Yeah. So
I'd recommend.
is that one like a fiction representation of
Yeah, and
manifestation?
it's like
Okay.
more light and more if you're really really beginner, I would
Mm-hmm.
probably suggest that, just
Part
because
recover.
it's really light and you get like the concept in a really
Yeah.
easy way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cute movie, like it's
Yeah.
good. But yeah, I recommend that. That's like, and that's a great one for beginners in general, is
Yeah.
Power. um Really good. And then the other one I recommend is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Okay.
That is basically, it gets you more like, it's not about manifestation, but
Mhm.
it's about how to be grateful and
Okay.
how to, be appreciative for everything. And it dives
Mhm.
into like, there's four steps.
Yeah.
And so I have more, but those are just the good
The best one.
beginner ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just
Okay.
suggest. And then as you, or if you guys are interested,
Mhm.
then there's just a ton of information you can
Yeah.
find online about it.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's what, 2 books and 2 or 3 movies? I feel like that's a good starting point
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
people. Yeah. I'm gonna check out all of those.
yeah. They're good. They're good ones.
Yeah, but I feel like that's everything on manifestation. So anything else you wanna add?
I don't think so. I think I pretty much covered the basics.
Yeah.